How's it hanging, YouTube? Peter here, your ginger Geordie geek. Welcome back to the channel for a slightly earlier than usual This Is My. And today I'm joined by one of YouTube's biggest celebs, I guess you'd call him, the one and only Gem Mint. Hello, sir.
YouTube's biggest baby. No, I'm just playing. I appreciate the intro though, but yeah, man, thank you for having me. I think this is the last commitment that I have for a live show. You were super booked. You were like, Gem, I want to have you on the show. This is like July 1st. You're like, let's do September 1st. I'm like, all right. Hopefully I'm not, hopefully I'm still around during that time. But yeah, man. Thanks for hitting me up and asking me to come on. I saw my buddy Mr. X on the show, so I figured you were okay.
Yeah. What a guy he is as well. He's a bit of a character. You guys have met in real life as well, haven't you?
Yeah. That's a good friend of mine. We talk often. I probably know him, I don't know, maybe 5 years now or so. So yeah. He's way nicer in person. He's way more likable in person than he comes off on his own videos.
Yeah. But he makes a joke of that, doesn't he? He says, it takes at least, is it 20 videos before you decide whether you like him or not?
When I first heard him say that, that's when I got him. Because at first I was like, who is this guy? He's kind of a prick. But then I saw him say that in a video, and I was like, "Yeah, I kind of do see that. It takes a little while to ease up. You gotta lube you up a little bit before you get to like."
He does like that lube. Let's just quickly see who we've got in the chat. We have got Dr. Von Hoot. This is a chap. Gem, you may not be familiar with some of the UK stables on the YouTube scene. Dr. Von Hoot is someone you need to check out. That little image of his face there, that's what he actually looks like. All of his shows are in that. And we once went to a very high class establishment called Weatherspoons, which is a drinking venue, and he turned up dressed like that. And it was an interesting night. So well worth checking him out. Nice to see you, Von Hoot. I hope you are well, my friend.
I've heard the name before. I don't know if that's from something or it sounds familiar.
He's crazy. He's great.
Yeah.
We've got this bloke, MJ Comics. I don't know if you've met him before.
Never heard of him.
No. MJ Comics was also with one a drinking night. He's a bit of a lightweight.
He's a lightweight, I can tell, right?
Oh, yeah. He had one drink and he was out. Do you know what I mean?
He made it seem like he has some kind of whiskey problem. This guy looks like he takes 2 sips and he's done.
He's done. I mean, I'll not share it on screen, but I'm going to share it on screen. When we went out, he vomited in his hands, which wasn't nice. But he's a great guy, is James. He's a great character. We've got Terry, Deadman. He's just starting his YouTube journey and just started his own channel, which is superb. He goes through comic book covers. So please do check him out. He's got some great content.
I just put out a short giving my top 5 recommendations for anybody wanting to start a YouTube channel in 2024. I suggest check it out. None of that might be accurate. It's just my personal opinion, but it would be cool maybe as a new channel to take a look at that and maybe get some perspective as somebody who's been doing it.
Absolutely. That would be great, Jem. Check that out, Terry, because I think Terry's he's just started. He's putting a lot of good content out, but he's already kind of feeling that pinch of, I'm not getting as many views as I might like and things like that, so
it's tough to find an audience on this platform, man. Yeah.
And it's hard when you start out.
Yeah.
Jason Parker Comics. Jason is again one of the staples of the UK community. Got me started on YouTube. It was Jason that kind of got me involved. So always nice to see you, Jason. We've got Fuzzy of the Dunlop. This should be interesting, I hope. Fuzzy is one of my biggest supporters, Gem. He's here all the time. He's an amazing guy.
I feel like I've seen Fuzzy in another chat, maybe.
There's 2, so you've got to be careful. So there is Fuzzy Dunlop, and then there's a clone, another Fuzzy. Yeah, but Fuzzy's the main.
I got to keep an eye out for the clone.
Yeah,
Fuzzy Dunlap is the real one. Dunlop.
Fuzzy Dunlop's the real. He's the real deal. Yeah, he's the real deal. We've got Rob Fatstacks.
I've seen Rob.
Yeah, Rob's an amazing guy, absolutely amazing guy. And big shout out, Rob, stick it in the chat. Rob's one of the kingpins behind Comics Curing Cancer, which you've probably heard of, John.
That's probably why I heard of him. Yeah, I've heard of Rob Fatstacks.
Which is coming up soon. So, Rob, please put some details in the chat, mate. Always nice to see you. And it's your favourite American. Oh, I got grief because I do a lot of work with a guy called Efren from Past Point Comics. And I did a show. He's a great guy from San Diego. We did a show a while ago, and I think I referred to Rob as my favorite American, and Efren wasn't very happy.
He's running with that title, I see.
Yeah, he is absolutely. Okay, let's crack on because we've got lots to cover tonight, and I don't want to keep you too long. Gem,
What did you think about this old ass picture I gave you?
Well, we're gonna get to that in a second, mate. So on this channel, I don't necessarily do drama, so I'm not going to be
That's
talking
what we're here
about.
for, man.
Yeah, I'm not going to be talking about Crispy Duck and all that shit. Whatever happened last week, and the thingy. But I'm
Crispy
going to
Duck
ask you
is
some
good.
hard questions,
Okay.
right? And the first hard question is, what the shit is this, mate? What is going on with that picture?
So when you asked me for a picture, in my mind, I was like, let me just give him. I knew I had like this old picture on my phone. I was like, let me give him this old picture where I got braids and I got this necklace on. I must have been like 23 during this picture. I'm 40 now. So this is like 17 years old. I had long hair back then too. I got the long hair again. Let me bust it out on y'all. But I used to get braids. We were into the music scene because a friend of mine is a producer, and to me, he was able to make beats the same as any professional producer. And we would make music together, and then we started a record label together, and we had artists. So this picture was actually taken in a studio that we were renting with a terrible backdrop that I bought that you could see all the wrinkles in it because we were supposed to have like a photo shoot.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just thought it would be funny to have like this young picture of me with the braids in my head. You can see actually it goes all the way down by my elbow here, the little hair. But I thought it would just be funny.
Very cool. It's very cool. I like it. I like it a lot. Just before we move on to the next question, I'm just going to quickly jump into the chat, mate, because we've got a few other people joining. Rob is saying, Comics During Cancer, October 4th to the 6th, follow on Instagram or Facebook for details. Yeah, superb work you do there.
I know about that really from DJ Links. That's a good friend of mine, and I always see him promoting the Comics Curing Cancer thing. So shout out to DJ Links.
Yeah, DJ Links is going to be on the show next week, I think, actually. Again, a great guy.
He's always trying to ride my coattails, though, man. I noticed that every time I'm on a show, now he pops up after me.
Yeah, as soon as I said you were on, he was ringing us. He said, I need to be on as well. Do you know what I mean?
I think he's doing it on purpose.
Yeah. Rob's saying the schedule is going to go up next week. Good stuff. Fuzzy's saying there is only one Fuzzy, the first of his name. Absolutely. No foul language. Speaking of foul language, we have got Sticky Goose in the comments. How did you gain 4,400 subs in one day? Not a fucking clue, mate. That's how I gained 4,400 subs.
Okay, so we are allowed to curse here because Fuzzy had me worried. I think I'm already dropping bombs.
No. Like I said, chilled out here. No, at my channel, my little channel, I put a few videos out. We had a Batman kind of museum tour thing here a while ago. I put that video out and I did very well. I did a room tour video, and then I got a lot of bots. I think it is bots, Jem, because they're not watching.
You got 4,400 subs in one day?
I don't think it was one day. I think that's bollocks. I think it was over the course of a week or two.
But that's happened to me too. Like if you have viral videos, you'll get a ton of subs, but you put out a video the next day, none of them watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they signed up, they subscribed because they liked your tour. But then your next video is an interview with DJ Links that nobody gives a shit about.
Nobody
and
watches.
Then boom.
Nobody watches. Yeah.
They don't watch it, and then they don't. So then YouTube's not going to recommend them the next video now. That's just the algorithm.
Yeah. No, we had a pal who got, I think, over the course of, he put a dirty video on, basically. He put a video of Harley Quinn, a cartoon video thing, and he got up to 50,000 subs in the space of about a week or two. And I did a few live shows with him, and we had like 3 people watching. So it doesn't translate. We're going to get to it in a bit when we talk to you about your kind of views on YouTube and whatnot.
Yeah.
But my views are always basically, Jem, I couldn't give a shit. I do it because I enjoy doing it. Do you know what I mean? And
that's the best way to go about it, man. I mean, plus, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
Yeah. That picture, Gemini's X Factor audition face. You guys have X Factor, don't you?
Yeah, it's the singing show, right?
Yeah.
Or is it talent or singing? It's talent.
Well, it's debatable either way. I think at the moment
it's funny
kind
because
of singing.
When he said X Factor audition, I was thinking from X-Men, like auditioning for the X Factor team.
Yeah. Oh, we've got Jack in the chat. Nice to see you, Jack. Thanks very much, mate. I've been on holiday for a couple of weeks, so nice to see you, bud. And Kenneth, nice to see you.
That's my guy. Kenneth Bird's one of mine. That's a Gemini right there.
Yeah, he's a lovely bloke. Lovely bloke.
So maybe he's not mine. Maybe you know him as well.
Yeah. He's both of them. We'll both claim him.
All right.
Okay, Jem. So, first question, dead straightforward. What's your story? Tell me a little bit about you.
I think people are sick of the Gem In story by now, man.
Give us something. Make something up. Make something up. Nobody. You know.
my parents were circus performers, and then they both died when I was really young, and a handsome young billionaire took me in. I found out that he was actually a vigilante, and I started going out on patrol with him. No,
And are
the
you
story about
currently in the
me, I
gem
mean,
cave? Are you in the gem cave? Is
yeah,
that what
and
that
now
is?
I'm
Yeah.
in my wing of the gem cave. Just a quick version of this. I'm 40 years old. I got hooked into comic books around the time when I was 8 years old, when I found Marvel trading cards, specifically the Joe Jusko 92 Marvel
Yeah.
Masterpieces. Led me to the comic shop. I wanted to know more about these iconic characters that I had seen and heard of before, but they just hit me so hard with those paintings. So I started going to shops. I started reading trade paperbacks. And during the 90s, man, comic shit was everywhere. You had Wizard Magazine, you had comic books, action figures, video games, movies, animated series. Like, it was everywhere. I got out of it in my teens when I started having more of teenage interests. But when I became an adult with adult money, sitting at my cubicle at work with the internet, I started buying back some of the trading cards and then some of the key issues that the cards referenced on the back. Then I found out about CGC. I actually learned a lot of my comic knowledge from scouring the CGC forums. I don't know. Have you ever visited those?
Yeah, a long time ago, but
Me
not
too.
not recently. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I used to study those while at work, like in between my. I was taking phone calls. I was in customer service for 15 years, working for the power company. And what's funny is, I always kind of had the gift of gab, and a lot of customers on the phone would say, "Hey, man, you have a really good voice to do like radio or voiceovers or something." And I used to be like, "Yeah, that's nice and all, but how the hell do you get into that?" Like,
Yeah.
thanks, but no, whatever. It's funny enough that I ended up doing YouTube, which is kind of like using your voice and everything. But I ended up getting into YouTube after after finding CGC, sending books in to get graded. I stumbled upon Instagram. I started buying and selling. And when I started to get into the omnibus and the statues and those kind of other collectibles, there wasn't a CGC forum for that. So I
Yeah.
started looking on YouTube, and I started finding omnibus YouTubers, statue YouTubers. And I thought immediately, like, I could do that.
Yeah.
Thanks, babe. I was like, I could do that. I could make videos. And then I kind of like wanted to do it. I wanted to have a nice setup behind me and like do the omnibus background and stuff. So I started to do that. And what really helped me was my want as a fan. I wanted to have videos every single day. At the time, I had a long commute to work. So I ran out of videos to watch. And I used to tell myself, man, when I start a YouTube channel, I'm going to put out a video every single day so that whoever's watching has something brand new every day.
Yeah.
And the timing just really worked for me. You got to understand, when I started my channel in 2017, it wasn't like it was now. The MCU was at the top of its game. You had Infinity War coming out at phase 1 and phase 2. Everybody loved the MCU. Comic books were popping. The omnibus hobby was new. The statue hobby was relatively new. And when I started making videos about this stuff, it really created an awareness of these collectibles. And then we had the pandemic. So boom, I'm already bubbling. Pandemic happens. Everybody's home watching YouTube with stimulus checks. I don't know if you guys got that over there in the UK.
No, we didn't. No.
So it was just a perfect storm, man. I got super lucky. I just was in it at the right time, and the hobby was at its height, really. Excuse me, I'm eating a little bit of breakfast if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course, no problem at all. I mean, I remember. So I think because I'm a bit older than you, Jim. I'm a couple of years older than you, and I have to say, YouTube wasn't something I watched as a medium, And then the pandemic hit, and I was drawn to it. And it was yourself, Jason Parker, who we've mentioned before, and Mr. X, actually, who were kind of shown comic-related stuff. And I suddenly realised, actually, do you know what? Grown men are actually talking about the stuff that I like. Because when I was younger, being a comic fan wasn't cool. And I found this kind of new audience for it, And it was channels like yourself and, like I say, Mr. X and Jason.
So you were more drawn to like the statues, like the large figures and such.
So my collection journey is started comics, and then I moved very much into statues, busts. Do you remember the old bone collectibles? Bone busts. I had all of those and things like that. And then it's gone back to key issues and things now. But now I collect 1/6 scale action figures. But yeah, it was certainly initially it was your statue videos, but then I also my personal reading style is I prefer the omnibuses rather
Yeah.
than single issues.
You
So
get
that
everything.
side of stuff that was kind of pulling us, you know.
You know what's funny about what you said? I've heard that comment a lot. Like comics weren't cool when I was a kid, this and that. See, I feel like when I was a kid in the '90s, it was cool to be into comics. First of all, you had like rappers were into comics at that time.
Yeah.
Wu-Tang, Outkast, like you could tell they were comic fans. And like I said, it was just everywhere. Arcades were everywhere. Marvel vs. Capcom was huge. So I kind of feel like I was lucky in that sense that I think being uh, born in the '80s, growing up in the '90s, it was kind of cool, at least in my friend group. And we weren't very nerdy, but we still liked comics and characters and things like that.
I remember the first time I feel people started kind of paying attention. I remember sitting at home having my tea, and we had a TV show called News Round, which was like a news show thing. And New Mutants '98 had kind of exploded.
Yeah.
And they did an article on the news about it. And my mother was like, yeah, you collect these comics, don't you? Are any of your comics worth money? And that kind of started to spiral on, you know?
Yeah, I remember when New Mutants '87 was the big book at that time.
Yeah.
Like Cable was huge because of X-Force and New Mutants and everything. And the Deadpool book, I remember it kind of popping off way later, but yeah.
Just going to quickly jump to the chat. Rob saying we can share custody of Kenneth.
I get him on the weekends.
Yeah.
No. As a matter of fact, I get him on the weekdays. Minty Fresh Morning Show. You can have him on the weekends.
That seems fair to me. That seems fair. Indie Comics Corner. Hey guys, hope you're both well. Thank you for joining, bud. We've got Luke's Journey into Thunder. Luke's a great guy. Predominantly collects Thor-based comics. I had him on the show a little while ago.
I've seen him. Yeah. I've seen Luke.
Great guy. And we've got the Killer Comics Show. My pals that I do a show with on Thursday night. What a perfect live stream to chill out on a Sunday. Absolutely.
Nice.
Jason saying, Jem tucking into his 5-course meal.
He had leftover egg on toast, and she's like, "Do you want the rest?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, bring that."
Have it all. Why not? And let's just see.
No, that makes sense. I see them saying '90s was cooler, '80s not so much, and the '60s it was not cool in any way. So I think I got so lucky in that sense too. Like growing up in the '90s, it was like a different vibe, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And Fuzzy saying pop culture as a whole is totally different over here, even more so 30 years ago. Yeah, because we didn't really have the comic scene that you guys had in terms of being readily able to buy them. You know,
right?
It was
you guys had to deal
agents.
with tens copies and all that.
Steady. Yeah. Okay, next question for you, Jem. And this one's the one that's a little bit tougher. Desert Island. So you're stuck on a desert island. You've got power, so you've only got access to one movie for the rest of your life. And also one drink, one meal that you can have on repeat. So what film are you watching? What are you eating? And what are you drinking?
So this might be these types of questions can change on how you're feeling, I think. But immediately, the first movie that comes to mind is Mallrats.
Wow, Kevin Smith.
That's a movie that I feel like I love gangster movies. I love mafia movies. I love superhero movies. I love comedies. But Mallrats, to me, that's the first thing that popped in my mind. I wouldn't mind watching that. It's comic related. It's funny. It's so many quotables. My favorite meal.
Have you ever met Kevin
drink?
Smith?
Huh?
Have you ever met Kevin Smith?
Never.
Yeah, he's done a few cons over here, and I've always been desperate to meet him. He's on my bucket list.
So, and Jason Mewes, we share the same birthday, and Fee actually saw him live doing whatever they do. It's kind of like, it's not a stand-up comedy. It's kind of like a sit down and talk kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But I think if I had to go, favorite meal would be steak. I could do steak all day, every day. And for a drink, damn, I think I have to just go water, bro. Give me some steak, some water. What? Yeah, because what am I going to drink? I mean, I have a guilty pleasure. You want to know my guilty pleasure drink is? And I actually been having some. I've been putting on some weight lately, man. I've been having my guilty pleasure foods. My guilty pleasure drink is a Coca-Cola Slurpee or slushy. Yeah. I don't know if you guys have.
We have slushy. Yeah,
that's my guilty pleasure. I don't know. My dad put me onto them when I was a kid. It's not the best flavor. People will go blue raspberry or cherry or whatever, but I always like the Coca-Cola. On a hot day, a nice cold slurp. We call them Slurpees here, but they call them slushies too. That's my guilty pleasure, but I wouldn't want that every day. Water, I think, is a good bet. Ice cold water.
Good stuff. Jason's just asking me here, were baseball cards the first collectibles in the US?
I don't know if they were the first collectibles, but that's definitely the first trading cards I ever had. And baseball cards were huge from before, obviously, before I was a kid. And that's what got me. That's what kind of like made me aware of the trading card thing. And then when I found Marvel cards, I had already had a binder of baseball cards, and I remember thinking, "Damn, there's like 1,000 cards in this baseball card set." But the Marvel Masterpieces only had 100 cards.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, you could actually get the whole set of these, whereas the baseball felt like a very daunting undertaking to collect all the cards of the set.
Yeah. And Jason, over here in the UK, I don't know if it was a thing in America as well, but before baseball cards, we had those cards that you got in cigarette packets. So they seem to go down really, people were collecting those madly. MJ is saying the Stan Lee cameo in Mallrats, yeah.
In Mallrats, yeah, exactly.
It's a classic one, actually.
Not even a cameo. I would say he had a full-fledged scene.
Yeah,
a plot device, if you will.
Yeah. And Fuzzy, not a mojito, minty fresh, boom, boom.
Nah, not for every day.
No. Tell me about some of the arcade machines you've got behind you there, Jim. Tell me a little bit about those, mate.
Yeah, this was another thing that I kind of got lucky on, because my channel has always just been whatever I think is cool that I like. I'll buy it. I'll do a video on it. I got the first arcade 1-up machine, was their Street Fighter 2 cabinet. I made a video on it, and then I just started collecting basically every new arcade 1-up as it came out, just buying it as a fan. And that hobby kind of really took off, and now it's dead. It took off during like the start of the pandemic, and yeah, people still have cabinets and stuff, but it's nothing like what it was when the pandemic started. I had a full room. This whole arcade room was full. I sold half of them to somebody that bought some statues locally, and I kind of knew that I was, getting ready to move and try to sell this house. And I just kept whatever they didn't want. But I liked all my arcade 1-ups. I got Marvel vs. Capcom there, NFL Blitz. I had 3 Mortal Kombat cabinets. This is the one with the Mortal Kombat 3 skin, the X-Men arcade game, Killer Instinct, and then I have NBA Jam still. So I still have those 6 cabinets.
And do you still play them? Do you still use them? Never.
I play a lot of on PlayStation. I play a lot of games, but I played them all when I first got them. I got the high score. I did whatever, but I never played them ever.
Yeah. I mean, we spoke briefly on your daytime show a little while ago about arcades that we've played in the past, and I still remember going to the old arcade and playing particularly the X-Men game. There was an Avengers one as well, I seem to remember.
Yeah, the Avengers one. I remember the one that was on, I think it was on Sega Genesis, though. Captain America and the Avengers, I remember. But I think there might have been an arcade port for it, or an arcade machine for it, but I don't think I've ever played that one. Yeah. But every single mall in America had an arcade. Like, it was huge. And then there were dedicated arcades that had like go-karts in the back. We had Grand Prix Racerama. We had Boomers. And the arcade scene died when home consoles became as powerful as the hardware for the arcades, which I hate. That was a terrible thing that we lost that arcade. That was such a dope hangout for kids. Yeah, man, my friends and I would get dropped off with $5 a piece, and we would be there all day. Yeah,
so that was a usual hangout for me and some of my mates down in an area called Whitley Bay, and we used to go and play on them all the time. But nowadays, there's a lot of these like shooters, but very few scroll arcades.
Oh, no, they're
like gold racks and things like that.
Pay with a prepaid card. It gives you tickets. Bro, we used to have, you put $1 and you got 4 tokens. So, it used to be 4 quarters first. Yeah. They would have slot machines in the arcade where you can literally gamble to win more tokens.
Yeah.
They don't do shit like that anymore. It reminds me of the scene from the first TMNT movie where they show the kids hanging out at the Foot Clan HQ. This is how we like, that was what our life was like as a kid in the 90s, except they weren't really handing out cigarette cartons to you.
That's very true. That's very true. We've got Chris from Off My Shelves, another brilliant channel. I don't know if you've ever checked him out, but he does an awful lot of in-depth reviews of books, so well worth checking out. I hear they've started slamming cabinets.
Like they do video games, right? Sealed arcade cabinet box.
And Jason, my dad used to own a company that made amusement machines, so I was lucky enough to have arcade games in the house.
That's crazy.
All of a sudden I made a lot of friends.
Yeah, I bet.
Thank you very much, Jason. Appreciate that, bud. Love, I'm still so into the retro game, and the emulator consoles are so nostalgic. Do you have any, Jim? Yeah.
I have the NES and SNES Mini, like the official one. Actually, I have a Mini for every console I think that came out, the PlayStation Mini and all that. But it's kind of the same with the arcade cabs. Like, I'll play it when it comes out. and then I kind of don't play it anymore. I'm really into trophy hunting on PlayStation. Like I love
Yeah.
to get the platinum trophies. So that's kind of like when I game, I'm really doing it to platinum the games that I love,
Yeah.
which will be retro. Like I platinum the OG Doom, 1993 Doom, and I'm trying to get the platinum for Doom 2, but there's like a pain in the ass trophy that's very difficult. But I like to like platinum stuff like Mortal Kombat games, Doom games, Final Fantasy games, shit that I love, which sometimes they'll be retro as well. I just got the platinum trophy for like Final Fantasy 1 through 7 recently.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
all the OG Final Fantasy games and the GOAT Final Fantasy 7.
You mentioning Doom there, and I remember, crikey, memories jumping back now. I remember getting that on the PC, the home computer, as it were, and it was around the time when you could start to kind of muck around with stuff, and there was an emulator which turned it into the X-Men. Don't know if you ever played that.
Oh, I never played a mod of it.
It
No,
was incredible,
but I
absolutely incredible.
but I remember Doom. You had him on the 3.5-inch disc,
Yeah,
and those were the computers that it would start with DOS. Like you wouldn't even you would
yeah,
have to like C:// run Doom exe or whatever the
yeah,
hell, right? Like that shit was crazy back in the day.
yeah. So the Killer Comic Show. So it's probably Charlie, I would imagine, in the chat. Charlie's banging into his portable gaming systems. He's often shown with those ones, so there's a recommendation there for you.
Okay, yeah. I think I've seen. Sometimes I watch gamer channels. Like I think the guy's name is RGT85. I think I saw him with a video of that.
Right. Okay. Fuzzy saying 1993 had some tremendous titles released. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Next question for you, Jem. We'll move on to another question, and this one's a little bit harder. One's got to go and have never existed. DC or Marvel.
DC can go.
DC.
Peace.
Easy as that. Easy
In my
as
mind,
that.
they're already gone. Nah. I like DC, but I just always liked Marvel much more. I mean, the trading cards, the video games, they just always had more. Even to this day with Omnibus, they have way more Marvel than DC. DC always just, even in the movies, like I understand being a DC fan. Like I like DC too. I love Batman. Superman is actually my first hero.
Yeah.
And like one of my favorite stories is still Death and Return of Superman.
Oh,
But it just always seems like they're trying to catch up to Marvel. Like, what's the deal with that?
yeah, no, I agree. And I know you're a big Omnibus fan, and I'm predominantly leaning towards Marvel as well, like yourself. But I have to say, in terms of collected editions, I am a sucker for the absolute editions.
Oh,
and
that's the best format.
Beautiful, yeah.
Best format in collected editions. But, you know, Image does a similar format with the Invincible hardcovers and Spawn hardcovers. But I don't know that they do the ribbon. Spawn might have the ribbons in theirs. But yeah, and Marvel, I guess they don't want to copy them. They try to do, they have an oversized hardcover with their gallery edition, but no slipcase, no dust jacket, no ribbon, but way cheaper. So I guess they don't want to go that high price point. I don't know. Who knows why?
Yeah. And like I say, I know you're a fan of the absolutes. And which ones have you got on your radar at the moment? Is there any that you're hunting?
I decided to part with the absolutes again.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'm not collecting absolutes, but the absolutes that were my favorite were the ones that they didn't have the story collected in omnibus format. So like Watchmen, Crisis on Infinite Earths, Alan Moore Swamp Thing, those type of staples that this is the most prestige format and there is no Omni for it.
Yeah, yeah. So out of those two pantheons then, favorite character. Who's your favorite Marvel character and your favorite DC character?
So my favorite Marvel character, I'm a Spider-Man guy. Shout out to MJ Comics. I've always been a Spider-Man fan. I've always loved his powers, his costumes, the different iterations, his rogues gallery. I feel like I don't want to say second to Batman. I feel like they're kind of tied with rogues gallery. But I've always liked Spider-Man and his whole lore, Venom, symbiotes, goblins, Doc Ock, the colorful animalistic type of villains. His personal life, Peter Parker, a very likable, relatable character. And I've always liked Wolverine as like a close second. I've always like a Wolverine X-Men guy. But Spider-Man easily is my favorite Marvel character.
Yeah, yeah.
What about you? Who's your favorite?
Thor.
Thor.
I love Thor. He's one of my, always has been.
The thing that's funny about Thor to me, I've always looked at it like, this is not really a Marvel character. It's like a Norse god that Marvel adapted somehow.
Yeah.
But I became a fan of Thor with the MCU movies. I was never really a Thor or an Iron Man fan or a Cap fan, really, for that matter. I was always Spider-Man and X-Men. But the MCU really gave me an appreciation for Thor, even though some will probably say they butchered him by the end of it so far. But like the first movie and Infinity War Thor, like I became a fan of him through those.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a hard character to write, and there's been some amazing runs. But more recently, I don't know if have you read Avengers Twilight?
I have read. I don't know if I read all the issues. I read the first few issues.
Stunning, absolutely.
I don't think Thor shows up in the first few issues though.
Not the first. I think he appears at the end of the second or something like that. But just a brilliant rendition of
his Cap at first. I feel like.
Yeah. What about DC? Who's your favorite DC characters?
I gotta go Superman. Superman is my favorite. I'm always a main character fan. Like I always like the main characters of a franchise. I just always identify with those. I don't know. Like I like. If you ask me my favorite DBZ character, it's gonna be Goku. Favorite Berserk character is Guts. But Superman, yeah, I mean, that's like the first superhero and the first one I was also introduced to. When I went into the comic shop to try to find those issues that were on the back of the Marvel Masterpieces, I learned quickly, like, oh, those are expensive. Those are called key issues, and the shop doesn't even really have them. And if they did, they were expensive. So I settled for trade paperbacks, and the first trades I got were Death of Superman and Maximum Carnage. And I fell in love with both. I read them front to back a million times. And to this day, like those are my favorite stories. And this might be a question for later, but my favorite omnis also are Death and Return of Superman and Spider-Man versus Venom, which has a lot of great Spider-Man and Venom battles, but most importantly, Maximum Carnage.
Yeah. I'm sure I've read that they're doing a Death of Superman Absolute. I think that's coming out soon.
So I'm going to get that just because that's like one of my favorite stories. And I definitely want to see it in that pristine or prestigious format.
No, I think I'll be picking that one up, even though I've got Death of Superman in a few different formats, but I'll definitely be picking up the Absolute, I think.
That's a double dip for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
MJ, I'm right there with you. I'm a sucker for the Clone Saga as well. And I hated growing up as a kid and hearing older people trash the Clone Saga. I loved Ben Reilly and Scarlet Spider and Ben Reilly taking over. And yeah, I guess I could see why people didn't like it when they tried to establish Ben Reilly was the true Peter Parker and Peter Parker was actually the clone. But it's just like how they kill characters in comics. Like the status quo will always revert. And it was a fun story with a lot of great art and fun characters.
Me and MJ have talked about it before, but the Ben Reilly character, the costume design of that back in the day was phenomenal.
One of my favorite, I always try to get Sideshow or these statue companies to make a quarter scale Ben Reilly new Spider-Man statue.
Yeah. I've got the hot toy of the Ben Reilly with the hoodie, which is very, very cool. I like that one.
Yeah.
That's very cool. JMA Geek, nice to see you. Hope you're well.
I know JMA Geek. What's going on?
Rob's saying right up until they took MJ away from Peter. Am I right? Yeah, Rob's a big MJ fan.
That's that whole one more day thing, right? Everybody hates.
Yeah. I quite liked. I always get his name. I can't do names, Jem. You'll learn that. But I quite liked Straczynski's run up until then.
Yeah. That's the thing. Again, the status quo will revert one way, shape, or form. Like it might be in an alternate universe like Ultimate Spider-Man, but everybody who hates One More Day, you can read Peter Parker married to MJ with 2 kids right now if you want. Great story by Jonathan Hickman, which is ongoing right now.
Yeah, Ultimate Spider-Man at the moment is phenomenal.
You see what Rob said? Maximum Carnage drove him away from comics for years. How? First of all, Mark Bagley art is top tier.
Oh, yeah.
And they made a Super Nintendo beat 'em up out of that, which was amazing. And then they followed it up with Separation Anxiety. And it had the red Super Nintendo cartridge. I loved it, man. It was just dumb fun. Just like a stupid, dumb event, which I don't think it had ramifications really once it ended. Like it was on to the next thing, right? Actually, I think the Clone Saga was after that, which some will say was even worse. But I loved both of them.
The guys are talking about the web shooters here, and
Impact Webbing.
I remember reading that. I think it's the first Ben Reilly versus Venom, and he shoots the impact weapon under the suit, and you see the kind of the ripple. Just amazing. Absolutely.
I think that was his first battle as Scarlet Spider, maybe.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Okay, next question.
Hold on. Van Houten saying he meant clonage drove him away, not Carnage. That makes a little bit more sense, but
yeah.
I was like, why would Maximum Carnage drive you away? I could see why Maximum Clonage would do that, though.
Do you not think, as a Spider-Man fan, then, and I'll ask this to the chat as well, because I know we've got some big Spider fans in the chat. Venom and Carnage, are they not overused now? Have we not diluted them to the point where it's a bit boring?
Yeah, I can see that. The whole symbiote thing has kind of been driven into the ground. I can agree with that. I mean, I'm a sucker for it, and I guess they sell well, right? I mean, that's why they
Yeah,
keep making them. I mean, everybody loved Donny Cates' Venom run for the most part, King in Black. I didn't really like where they went with it afterwards.
yeah,
And a lot of the Carnage stuff has been like has but also you always fall in love with your first thing, right? So like
yeah,
I loved Maximum Carnage and all the Bagley stuff, but all the subsequent Carnage stories to me have just been okay, I guess. The
yeah,
90s Carnage stuff was top tier. Like the whole It's a Wonderful Life one shot, and Carnage he had a couple of one shots that were crazy in the 90s.
yeah. What do you think of the Venom movies?
I hate them. They're terrible.
Yeah, shit.
Yeah. Don't
Utter
like them.
shit. Yeah, no, I'm not a fan.
I
You
don't like
obviously,
any of these Sony Spider live action movies. These Spider villain movies without Spider-Man is crazy.
did you see Madam Web?
No.
Wow,
No.
wow. It's, I mean, yeah, it's
It's like
horrific.
Sony. Just give it up, man.
Yeah.
Just sell the rights, get your money up, do the animated movies. They do a good job with the animated stuff.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah,
you can't
no.
make a Venom movie without Spider-Man. It's like, bro, his powers come from the symbiote gaining them through being attached to Peter Parker. That's why he sticks to walls and shoots web and has the emblem on his chest, which like, they don't
Yeah.
even do in the movie. So.
No. And we've got the Craven the Hunter film coming soon as well, and it just looks.
Yeah, I mean, the trailer looks decent, but I know the movie's it's gonna be another Morbius.
Yeah. Fuzzy is just saying we're about to get Wakanda Venom. Jesus.
And to Rob's Fat Stacks, yeah, Ben Reilly as a villain now with the whole Chasm character. You know, kind of interesting. I see they have a new series coming out with that.
I think it's just come out, hasn't it? I think it's out this week or next week, but yeah, looks interesting. Madam Web N made me burst out laughing. It was just appalling, James. Absolutely appalling. Dreadful. I couldn't even bring myself to see Madam Web.
Me neither.
Yeah.
I just don't care, man.
No. I would say that Spider-Man is even more overused than Venom. That's true. Madam Web, I took my son to see that, and halfway through he turned to us and he started laughing. He said, "This is shit. This is just dog shit." Yeah, just awful. Just absolutely awful. Okay, Jem. A bit of a more personal question for you then. What's the best bit and the worst bit of being Jem Mint?
The best bit, I could go off for days, man. I love being able to immerse myself with things that I like and enjoy and collectibles that when I was a kid, 10-year-old, what would 10-year-old little Jem say if he saw this right now? And I guess that's who I'm doing this for, right? Like the kid that wanted all the cool shit, but you know, his parents, you know, gave him the most they could or did the best they could. But as a kid, I wanted everything.
Yeah.
And as an adult, I kind of was able to do that. Even though the way that I collect, I don't always have everything at once. A lot of times I'll sell things to get the next thing. Yeah, and to be able to kind of do this like as a career thing, which that's shaky in itself. I've been doing it for the last few years. It's super cool to be able to like wake up on your own time and make your own schedule and just talk about things that you find are interesting. Not have to like talk about somebody's electric bill. That I did that for 15 years. Like it's actually topics and stuff that I have interest in. I have some knowledge about it. I might not be the most knowledgeable dude, but I don't think that's why people, watch me anyway. It's more of like, I'm a fan of it. A lot of times I try to learn from the chat. Like I don't claim to know everything or even want to know everything, but I do like this stuff. I grew up with it and I'm just a fan of it. What's the toughest thing? I don't know, man. That's a tough one, man. I don't really know how to answer that. The toughest thing? I feel like one of the hardest things is like living up to expectations. Like all of a sudden you're put into this kind of you're this channel, you're that channel, you have this many subscribers, your videos should all be doing this and that. And it's like, dude, I don't know how the fuck we got here. I got lucky with my timing and with the hobbies that I was in. And I just try to put out content the best way that I know how. And you know how it is as a content creator. You put shit out. You don't know what the hell it's going to do.
Yeah.
And also my content is very sporadic. Sometimes I'll do an omnibus review. Then I'll do a statue review. Then I'm doing arcades. And I'm doing live video game streaming. Like my channel is like a variety pack. If you grew up in the 90s, you probably have a lot of similar interests and might resonate with the shit that I'm doing. But it's a little all over the place. So I just try to like have fun with it and not really worry about analytics as much, even though you always do. But
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think living up to the expectations and having to like, oh, all of my stuff should be doing this or that, and it doesn't. So it's kind of that's the tough part, I guess.
Great answers, Jim. And I think just to pick you up on a couple of points there. First of all, my parents had their own business most of my life. And I think it's I'm equating that to what you're saying about you've done what a lot of people want to do. You've managed to turn your channel into a career, which is amazing. And people say that and they think, oh, it's great. You're your own boss and all the rest of it. But actually, it's tough. I mean, my parents went through hard times being their own boss, and
Yeah.
I know you've been very open about that recently. And
I'm
it's
going through
hard.
one right now. Yeah, I
Yeah.
overextended myself. I purchased a large house at a time where I was doing extremely well, thinking that this will help expand the business. Take your little upstairs office and let's do a whole basement. Let's deck it out. Let's do the arcade room. Let's do the crazy epoxy floor. Let's make it custom shelvings. And it really didn't help, for whatever, whether it was economy, the content I was putting out or not putting out, or affiliating myself with this person or that company or whatever. It just didn't work out. And it's like one of the first times on this kind of journey where it's like, oh shit, the plan didn't work. The
Yeah.
plan has been working, you know what I mean? So it didn't work out. And now I'm trying to, come up with a new plan, and hopefully that works out. We sell this house, we get back into a smaller space. I learned that I don't really need all this space, obviously. I don't need as much room that I have, not only for the channel, but even for our family upstairs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that and your performance. If you ever get a performance review at work, it's between you and your supervisor. If you're a content creator, your performance review is for your audience too. Like everybody can see if you're doing good or doing bad. And it's kind of like a weird feeling. Like, luckily I'm a very like open, transparent type of dude, because yeah, I can see if shit is doing well or not doing well too. Like I don't need you to point it out.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, going back to your kind of your second part of the question, it is that pressure to perform in some regards, and the scrutiny I think you're under, because you're right, everything's open there for everybody to see, isn't it? And people, let's be honest, and again, we're not going to get into it, but people can sometimes be unkind on the web, and you very quickly know, if you're not doing well or people don't like your content. And the YouTube metrics are a bitch. It's heartbreaking when you're looking at your video and you're thinking, why is that not done what I want it to do? But yeah, it's not all roses, I don't think, being a content
The grass
creator,
is not always greener. I'm sure it looks that way, and to me, it looks super ideal to have a secure job that you just get paid every month the same amount, and you know what you got to do every day, and there's little question to it. And then that person is looking at me like, oh, this guy's living the life.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate what I'm able to do, but there's stress that comes with it. I mean, it's great, but it's not all roses and sunshine every day.
Absolutely. Chris from our shelves is saying the toughest is talking to random Geordies. That's me he's talking about, Sean. But that kind of links to a question I wanted to ask you, Jem. I would class as privileged because, like I say, when I was growing up, comics weren't cool. I didn't have a lot of friends to talk comics with. Started doing this YouTube malarkey, and I've managed to meet up with people like Chris, like James Mack, all those people. And it's really, I'm being dramatic here, but it really has changed my life in some regards.
Yeah.
Have you had that experience in terms of making relationships that you wouldn't have had outside of YouTube?
Yeah, I mean, I never thought of that, but I've heard people say it before, but I never really talked about this stuff. Like my friend group, they were with me as a kid, and yeah, we used to collect the trading cards together, but I'm obsessive. Like they gave up on this shit years ago, but I'm the type that's I always go the extra mile. Like if I like something, I go like head first into it. So I never really thought of that, but yeah, I think I felt that joining the Instagram community, like that was when I first started meeting these like-minded people that were also into the same stuff I was into. And then YouTube, yeah, was just a huge extension of that. And yeah, you get to interact with people every single day that like the same hobbies that you like. You find your people. So no, that's definitely huge. And I don't know why I don't think of that as much as I probably should, because I've heard other people say that before, like yourself. Like I didn't have this growing up, this and that. But yeah, it's crazy to have all these like-minded people that you can interact with.
Absolutely. And it's interesting for me because, like I say, I've said it to a lot of my colleagues like James and people like that I really am not fussed about how many people watch a video. Obviously, you'd like to have people watch, but I do a lot of live shows and very few people watch the live shows. I do a live show every Monday, but it's more of a social gathering now. We do it so we can catch up with people who live in other parts of the country and things like that.
Yeah.
I find that really pleasant. And I know you've started your own live show, daily live show now, and you must feel some sense of achievement seeing the same faces come up in that chat,
Oh
the
yeah.
same people interacting with you.
And it's the same people that have been here for years, man. Like these people, I know them on a first name basis. I know their loved ones. I know they got pets. Like,
Yeah.
and Sticky was mentioning that. I saw him say, like, I really know these people. Yeah, man. Like some of these people have been in my live chat since I've started the channel.
Yeah.
They're moderators now, or they're just, they support with the membership. And it's like, yeah, I've been talking to these people for a long ass time.
Yeah. Absolutely. Fuzzy saying, yeah, I speak to some people online more than I speak to some of my own family members.
I don't even speak to family members.
I try not to. We've got Indie Comics Corner. I've just uploaded my first ever video today and already find myself obsessive over the analytics. Yeah. Can't imagine if this was a job and not just a hobby. Please, Indie, stick a link in the chat if you can to your channel, and please, everybody, go and check out Indie Comics and give them a sub, and see what the channel is all about.
When I first started my channel, I didn't really know about the analytics until way later. I was obsessed with getting comments, making a video, seeing the comments come in, and I found myself obsessed with making a new video so I could see new comments. The comments were a thing for me, man, when I first started the channel. Like that's what drove me to keep on making videos.
Yeah, I mean, I try not to look at it too much because I can have my channel's nothing like yours, Jem, but I can have a video that does a couple of hundred views, which for me is great. And then my next video, I get 30, and it's like, well, what's happened there? What the frig's happened? There's just no rhyme or reason to it a lot of the time,
Where are the 100 people at? Yeah, but then I learned quick that you can't expect everybody to watch every video. I have a Facebook group with like 8,000 members, and I used to think everybody in this group is watching every video. Every video should get at least 8,000 views because everybody who cared enough to join this group. But then I realized, like, man, some people join this group for other reasons.
Yeah.
Some people join this group because they can sell omnibus or they could buy them, or they might not even know who the hell I am, but they stumbled upon it for one reason or the other.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of ego checking and realization that comes with doing this for a while. And a lot of times, like you said, you'll do a video that pops off. I have videos that did hundreds of thousands of views, and if I look at that video, okay, this was a Berserk statue. The video that I put out yesterday that has 1,000 views is not a Berserk statue. So you can't expect people that signed up for this type of content to watch this type of content just because you're the one doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's talk a bit more comic-y stuff. What are you currently reading, Jem? What's on your reading shelf? And follow-up question to that, if there are people in the comments or in the chat who don't read as much, what book would you recommend to pick up?
I'm not reading a lot currently. I'm reading and keeping up with Ultimate Spider-Man by Jonathan Hickman. I tried to check out new number ones to see if they're good jumping on points, like recently with the X-Men and Uncanny X-Men. But I'm not reading anything DC because first of all, I don't get any DC PDFs. Like I'm fortunate enough, I do get it from Marvel and Image and all them and Skybound but I don't really read too much these days. My interest kind of shifts. Like I collect a lot of things and my interest will shift with them. So like right now I'm heavy into gaming. I'm on this platinum trophy grind all year. I've really been into that. I am reading the Fantastic Four Volume 1 Omnibus with my wife right now. We're about halfway through it. So I would like to do, a read through of that. What would I recommend as far as like, I don't really think I could recommend any ongoing titles except Ultimate Spider-Man is great.
Really
great read for sure. But I'm not up to date with like modern comics. As far as omnis, it's always hard to give recommendations. You really got to just, what characters do you love? And what omnibus are available for that? I mean, if you love Spider-Man, there's a slew of omnis. But if you're a Dead Man fan, there's one omnibus for you. You might want to check it out. Like,
Yeah, I think my tastes have changed over the years, and I've kind of started going more towards indie stuff, and Image and things like that. But the some of the stuff by Jeff Jones at the moment is absolutely amazing.
Oh yeah,
Look and things like that.
And like I checked out the number ones for that. I liked all of it. Rook Exodus, Geiger, which I actually read the original volume, and then the number one for the new volume. And then what's the third one he has? Redcoat, maybe?
Redcoat. Yeah, Redcoat's not bad at all. That's
Not
quite
bad, yeah.
good. There's a new one coming out. Is it Ripper Street, I think it's called, which looks interesting as well. But
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I've read the number ones. I don't even know what issue they're on now. Maybe when a trade comes out or something, we'll catch up.
Yeah. Okay, Jem. Next question for you. What pisses you off? What winds you up and gets on your tits?
You know, it's hard to get me pissed off, to be honest. Yeah. What gets me pissed off? I don't even know, man. Like, I don't even have something that's jumping out off the top of my head.
In the past, we've had stuff like people who use phones in the cinema.
Use what?
Like use telephones in the cinema.
Oh, yeah, even like regular stuff?
Yeah.
Yo, I don't know. I can't even think of anything. What pisses me off? I don't know. I hate when people talk about something and they don't know what the hell they're talking about. When they talk about something lacking facts.
Yeah.
And they're just going off at the lips and they don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. Like, that's why I made a couple of rebuttal videos on my channel recently. I'm like, yo, this dude's making a video about me. He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Yeah. He's talking nonsense. So I hate that because I personally wouldn't do it. I wouldn't make a whole video about something and not know what I'm talking about. Like,
yeah,
you know. So I don't know. That's a pet peeve of mine.
And that happens a lot. I mean, you can. I think when you've been around for a while, you can see through people pretty quick. You know what I mean? And there's some channels that literally do that. They jump on whatever the current topic is and they're talking shit and they don't know what they're on about.
And what's frustrating is that I can see when somebody doesn't know. But it's frustrating when you see people in the comments that are like believing into whatever this person is saying. It's like, how could you not see that this guy is full of shit? That's very frustrating.
Yeah. Von Hoot saying Hyde Street. That's the book that I was just mentioning that's coming out. It looks cool, that one.
Jeff Johns. Who's the artist on it? Do you know?
Oh, I can't remember, mate.
Because he's got like Brad Anderson, Gary Frank, and I forget who the other guy is.
I mean, we talk a lot on the Killer Comics Show about the fact that Batman Gargoyle of Gotham, I don't know if you've been reading that. Fuzzy will tell us in the chat. It's been delayed like 8 months between issues. It's obscene.
That's like Last Ronin went through that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And then you've got Jeff Jones, who's like pumping out 15 books a day or something ridiculous. And he's never, or very rarely late, you know?
Well, he's like one of the best writers of our time right now.
Yeah, stunning. I love his work.
And he's a cool guy, young guy. He's hip. He's with it. Like, Jeff Johns is a treasure. I think he's underrated, man. I mean, a lot of people love Jeff Johns. But you don't hear him really brought up in that conversation too often, I don't think. Like, who's our modern greats? You got Jeff Johns, Jonathan Hickman. Who's doing it right now that's like top tier writer? James Tynion in the fourth.
Yeah. He's very cool. Jeff Lemire does a lot of work, but I find his work very hit-y-missy. I'm not so sure.
I can see that. He is great. I do like a lot of Jeff Lemire stuff too. But yeah. I mean, everyone has their hits and misses too. Like, I don't love everything Jonathan Hickman does. Didn't he do Decorum? I didn't love that.
I don't think I've read Decorum.
It was an indie book.
I find Hickman's work sometimes it hurts my head a little bit.
He's a little Grant Morrissey at times.
Yeah.
Grant Morrison-y, I should say.
Yeah, but Jeff Jones, I remember.
Ivan Reyes on Hyde Street. So that's the thing. Jeff Johns got an eye for artists too. Like, he's picking top tier artists to work with.
Yeah. Ivan's superb. But I remember Jeff Craigie 25, 30 years ago when he first started. He was doing Stars and Stripes. Do you remember that?
Oh, I don't remember that one.
So it was one of his first bits of work, and it was when we used to have the old DC message boards on the internet, and he was on there every night interacting with fans. And he just
is that the same message board that, like, was that the Warren Ellis message board, or is that a different one? Chip Zdarsky is another one of the greats right now.
I love Chip.
But Warren Ellis, I think, used to have this message board where creators would interact, and that's where Chip Zdarsky was from. I don't remember specifically the other artists, but yeah, Daniel Warren Johnson is good too. I'm only really familiar with his Transformers stuff, though. I might have read other stuff, but I'm not correlating it to him though.
Are you a wrestling fan?
Nah, I never got into wrestling, man, and I'm from that era.
Yeah, so I'm exactly the same. I'm not a big wrestling fan, but Daniel Warren Johnson did a book called Do a Powerbomb.
Which I read, and it's amazing.
It's phenomenal.
Even if you're not a wrestling fan, that's an amazing read.
Yeah, so I'm not a wrestler, but I loved that book.
Yeah, me too. That's funny. Because I was reading the majority of the weekly comics for like 3 years, like every single week for 3 years straight, trying to keep up with Rock and Robbie. I read Do a Powerbomb as it was coming out, and a lot of times it was like my pick of the week. It was like the best thing coming out at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, he did another book called Murder Falcon, which I've just bought in trade paperback, and I haven't
Oh,
had
that
a
sounds
chance
good.
to
Sounds
read
familiar.
it.
I haven't read it though.
And I always like to give a tip of the hat to one of my favorite. I like horror comics, so there's a guy called John Lees and also Alex Cormack who do a book called Sink, which is just amazing if you like horror.
Yeah, I'm not a horror guy.
Oh, it's a very.
I never got into wrestling or horror.
Yeah. Indie comics, I find Hickman's work often needs you to just roll with it. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Speaking of great writers, Jason Aaron is knocking it out.
Oh, Jason Aaron, yeah. I liked him a lot. I liked him a lot when I first started the channel, but I feel like he's kind of been not as prominent a figure in writing as he was when he was doing Thor. You know, that was probably at his peak, I would think. I mean, he's a great writer. I liked his Wolverine stuff.
So I kind of got on the Jason Aaron bandwagon when he did the recent Punisher run. I picked it up purely to see what all the fuss was with them changing the shield.
It was a great. I like that story.
It was brilliant. Yeah, and he's
I
doing
like the
Turtles
hand.
now,
I like
isn't he?
the supernatural aspect to it. It was people got hung up on the emblem. Like, was this really a way to get rid of the Punisher emblem? And I don't know. I mean, I saw at Walmart yesterday Punisher socks with like a pack of Marvel socks with the Skull logo. So I'm like, okay, obviously they're still using the Punisher logo.
Yeah.
I read it. Yeah.
Crimson Cage, is superb as well. I don't know if you've read that one. That's again by John Lee, sorry. And it's a wrestling one, but it's based on Macbeth, and it's superb. Again,
is familiar. Isn't that the guy that they do like these big abstract paintings as the artwork?
He's amazing. Something epic.
That. He's crazy. Yeah,
he does something epic, and it is just mind blowing.
Yeah, I know. I'm familiar with Kudranski's work.
Yeah, I think he does a lot of Spawn as well. He did a lot of Spawn work. Okay, next question, and the ramping up, Jem. The ramping up in terms of making you think. All right.
Okay.
Who's worthy in the world of Gem Mint? So, who it can be. You know, your family, your loved ones. It can be creators, whatever. Who's worthy? Who could lift Mullen here, do you think, and why?
Oh, well, Fee, obviously.
Yeah. How long have you been together?
23 years.
Wow.
Since we were 16 and 17.
Yeah. And I have to say, I've been watching your show for a long, long time, and I've been aware of Fee. But more recently, when you've started to do this daytime show, it's brilliant. I think that don't want to say double act, but do you know what I mean? The interaction between you make that
the
show.
Chemistry. We're in each other's mind. We finish each other's sentences. It sounds so cheesy and cliche. You know, having kids that our daughter will be 20 this month and our other is 16. We have like a whole language of phrases and slang terms that our kids made up. And, you know, we listen to the same music. Everything that we say, like we correlate it to a lyric. So like we're literally in each other's heads all day. So yeah, and we used to do this type of show every Sunday. Like we were doing that from like 2019 to like probably 2022. We would have a Sunday morning live stream, but I really wanted to do this. Like I wanted to make this morning show like the radio show. Yeah. Like it's Monday through Friday. It's every morning, again with the consistency. And you know what? And the views aren't the best. Like, you know, with live shows, they typically do worse than pre-recorded content. But it's been spawning a lot of great clips and stuff that we've been doing as shorts and reels. So it's kind of cool to get content out of the live shows like that as well. But people love it, man. We got like a strong 200 people that hang out. Yeah. People that have been there for, like I said, 5 years, 4 years. A lot of people show a support with the membership thing. Like we got a $2 membership, but you get a gem next to the name, and it changes colors as the longer you are. We got some members that are coming up on 5 years, man. So
wow. Yeah.
It's been great, man. I've enjoyed the hell of it. It's our people. Yeah. It's the same likes and kind of personalities. It's fun.
So I've been watching, and I think for me, you're absolutely 100% right. You don't get the same number of views and things on a live show. But I've talked to a lot of the guys in the chat here, Fuzzy in particular. There's something special about connecting with your audience and just having that conversation, you know. And I know I've noticed with yourself and Fee, you just go through those comments. You respond to people, because there's nothing more frustrating and worse than creators who don't do that. Do you know what I mean?
Why would you even comment? What's the
Yeah,
point of commenting if the creator is not even going to acknowledge it? So, and that's something I learned too. I'm like, yo, they're giving you the content right there. They're giving you the questions, the topics. Like we used to do these themed live shows, but it's like for what? The
yeah,
chat is going to drive the show. So I kind of feel like we were early on, like pioneers in this space. There might have been people that did it before, but I always remember other channels going live with a set amount of topics, and that's kind of all they talked about. But I
yeah.
used to be like, man, the chat doesn't give a damn about Batman New 52. They want to talk about what's your favorite Ghost Rider or what's your favorite movie. So
So it's really funny you're saying that. So I'm quite strict with my live shows. I have a program of them. I do. The best shows we do is where myself, James T. Keegan, and Efren do a kind of an Ask Us Anything, and we'll come on, no kind of plan, just let it drive, and we'll get to questions like Fuzzy's a master at questions, but we'll get things like, "What's your favorite pie filling?"
yeah.
But we'll talk for 45 minutes.
You would have
pie.
never have thought to bring that up as a topic. But to your point, I'm envious of people like yourself that can come up with a set amount of topics. I wish I could do that. I never can figure out what can especially on a daily basis. Like I wanted this morning show to do that. So sometimes there will be something that we can talk about. But a lot of times the chat will be like, have you heard about the new CGC scandal? So I'll look it up and I'll pull up the CGC forums and we'll talk about the banana slabs. And so it has also been good to grab topics from the chat on what are relevant issues that I might not even be aware about. I didn't know anything about that. I don't slab books. I don't collect slabs anymore. I haven't for a long time. So we are able to pull pertinent topics as well as what's your favorite pie filling.
And as Fuzzy says, I think for a lot of people watching, nothing turns people away from a channel with the host with no interaction. Yeah, it's
I mean, they're missing out because they don't really they're doing more work than they have to.
And Luke's saying, I think it always means a lot when a creator responds, makes me feel important. Yeah,
I would feel the same way.
Feel part of it, And speaking of the great public, Gem, another element that I like to do on this channel is, you'll have noticed we posed a thing on Instagram saying, you've got a question for Gem.
I shared it. And I don't know if it let them do it based on that or not, but
yeah, well, we've got a load of questions, so I'm going to rattle through some of these for you now. These are from people who are watching on Instagram. Patron of Comic Art, a fantastic guy. If you've never interacted with him, he's a New Yorker who collects original pieces of artwork. It's a stunning guy.
Nice.
What are some of the major lessons you've learned when it comes to creating comic content?
For me, it's try to be the same person you were when you started. Try to be the same person you were that made that person subscribe. I somehow got into this thing where I wanted the audio to be better. I wanted the video to be better. I wanted the editing to be better. I wanted my videos to be more professional. But why the fuck did I want that? That's not why the people subscribed 5 years ago. So I think trying to, be humble, not get too big-headed, which can happen, bro. Like, you start off, you're nobody, and then all of a sudden you have this attention. A weak-minded person, like I guess even myself, you can lose that. You could get an ego. You can get big-headed. So it's very hard to do. But I guess try to be that same dude you were that uploaded those first videos, because that's why people loved you.
Absolutely, I think that's great advice, man. Great advice. You might not even remember this. So one of my colleagues over on the Killer Comics show is a guy called Tom Malin, and he's got he had a comic shop and a channel called Not Quite Mint.
Oh, okay.
And the interviewed you a while ago, a couple of years back now. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a long time ago. I mean, I don't have any negative thoughts about it, so it probably went pretty smooth. Yeah. But are they not making content anymore? Or?
No, so Tom's over on the Killer Comic show now, but the pair of them don't do stuff together. But this question made us wonder. Obviously, I've been courting you for a while to get you on the channel, but you must get a ton of requests, a ton of interviews. How do you manage that? Because I would imagine, spend your entire life just doing things like this.
Well, you only get those kind of requests when you got something going on. So, those requests have been few and far between. But then recently, when I started, making a lot of personal videos and relatable content, and kind of, my name has kind of been ringing a little bit more, a lot of people have reached out to me. And I always looked at Comic Storian. Comic Storian would jump on anyone's channel. Benny, you'll catch him on any channel. And I always kind of did that back in the day too, like with the Not Quite Mint guys. That was before the whole reboot of my channel. And I always looked at it like, man, you should just jump on any channel. You never know if you'll get 10 new people or 3 new people. Who knows, man? So I always looked at that. And then I always looked at it like it's cool as fuck for the channel too, to like, have somebody on there that maybe they were fans of or whatever. It will never get you more subscribers. I'll tell you right now, me coming on your channel, I can share this on my community post. Maybe it'll get 10 likes. For some reason, those community post shits don't do dick. But you're never going to get really subs from having somebody on your channel that has subscribers. You got to get it yourself, bro. That's my big thing. And is you got to get it yourself. The 5 people that came from my community post ain't going to give a damn about Triple G unless he makes something that they really like. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, no, I think that's absolutely spot on, mate. Absolutely spot on. And I think you learn that. So I've been doing the interview type show for maybe it's about a year or something now. And I very much started thinking, oh, I'll get some of the big names on and I'll get bollocks. You don't. So,
but what's funny is I'll probably get more subscribers from you than you're going to get from me right now. Because people that watch you that don't know me might be like, oh, I do kind of like this Gem guy. Let me go see his shit. Yeah. But again, the other way around doesn't seem to work.
Yeah, it's strange. And that's why, coming back to some of the stuff at the very start, do it because you enjoy it. Do it because you enjoy the chat and the conversation, and the interaction. I think that's always been my mantra. Fuzzy's saying the best people to ask are your viewers. I think most creators instantly ask fellow creators for advice when they're struggling with the same issues. Yeah, that is very true, Fuzzy.
The only thing about that is what I've learned is the audience doesn't know what content they want. They want you to make content that entertains them. So that's why I don't really like to ask the audience, because they're like, bro, you tell me, you're the creator. I'm trying to watch something. Make it good. you know?
I mean, I've done polls on YouTube where you see what content do you want, toys, comics, whatever. And invariably, I'll give them 5 options. And I'll get people saying, oh, we definitely want comic content. It's smashing, right? Gets no freaking views, whereas my toy content gets tons of views. And you think, well, what's the point? Do you know? It's very, very strange.
Yeah, it's up to us to figure out what they want to watch, I feel like. Because a lot of people will tell me omnibus reviews, but it's like, bro, look at the history of the channel. That's never been the big draw. But if I read something that I like, I want to share it, I'll make a video on it. But
absolutely.
Anyway.
James is saying, if you could only read comics or play video games, which one would it be? That's a tough one.
MJ, man, you're going to get me canceled in the comic community. Video games is my first love. And right now, like I said, platinum trophy hunting has been like my go-to hobby. I think I would say video games, man.
Okay.
I guess it doesn't look bad sitting in the arcade right now with the, the machines on, but.
So I moved away from video games a good few years ago because I just didn't have the time to commit to them, working and stuff like that. Christmas time, good friend of mine, James T. Keegan, who's a massive gamer, he'd been prattling on for the last year, so he convinced us to buy a PlayStation 5. And I have to say, I got a little bit obsessed with Helldivers too. Yeah, and we're set up again, it's about that community thing. We're set up a team and whatnot, and we're on every night and we're playing. And I don't know, it did bring us back a little bit to my days of really enjoying video games, Yeah. It was good fun.
I love it, yeah.
MJ Comics is saying Jem's got it all figured out.
It sounds like that, but...
I have a strict only Mowl policy. Mowl is it? Oh, God. That's what he refers to himself as, Jem. A Mowl. The man and owl, yeah.
I like off my shelves comment that he got here next.
Chris, there seems to be a lot of pressure to buy subs. Yeah.
Why is there pressure? First of all, that's the worst thing you could do. I have the biggest struggle right now. I have a large sub count, but again, they subscribed for Berserk statues or Comic-Con tours, or the Deja Thoris statue got them to subscribe, or What Do You Do for a Living video got them to subscribe. But that doesn't mean they're going to watch every single video. If you buy subs, they're definitely not watching the videos. I would rather have more views than subscribers, to be honest. But I think what happens is, if you have more subscribers than views organically, it's because people liked you. A lot of people liked me from the What Do You Do for a Living video. And a lot of them were in the comments like, oh, I like you because you're similar to me. Like, I'm tatted up. I'm not really nerdy with it, which also means that they're not watching YouTube every single day, watching every video I put out. But, and if you have a lot of views but no subs, maybe you have spicy content, or you have not clickbaity, but you have like catchy content that people are watching, but they don't really like you, so they're not subscribing.
Yeah.
Subscribers don't mean shit, bro. It's cool. Like, if people subscribe to me, I'm appreciative, but that doesn't do anything for you, bro. Like,
Absolutely.
the algorithm is based on watch patterns. So if you watch a lot of comic content, it'll throw you a gem video. If you watch that video, it's going to recommend you the next one. If you keep watching, it'll keep recommending, even though you never subscribe.
No, absolutely, mate. And Chris, I would just add a little line of caution. And I don't know if you've ever seen this, Gem, but there's a YouTuber who I follow or who I know who did exactly that. He's shot up in terms of subs. And it was a couple of weeks later, one of these weird kind of buy your subs things had all of his analytics and all of his stuff all over Instagram. Look what we've done to help this creator grow, blah blah blah. And it was friggin' humiliating for the guy. Do you know, it was.
But, I mean, it was great. You could see that a mile away. For the record, I've never purchased subs. I wouldn't even know how to go about it. But there's no point to that. You want to get your content to get views. Subscribers don't mean shit.
Absolutely. Okay. Next question for you.
Jason said, "I said I'm not nerdy. We are all nerds." But I guess some people felt like, at least, I wasn't coming off like Sheldon from what's it called? Big Bang Theory.
Yeah. James was part of Helldiver's Group for Liberty. Yeah. Haven't played it for ages, James. We need to get on it, mate. We need to get on it. Wayne wants to know, what was the first ever comic you can remember buying?
Yeah, the first one I still have it. Yeah, I should have brought that out to show. I know that you like to do show and tell here, but I did make a video on it, and I'm pretty sure this is my first comic. It was a Mighty Mutanimals issue, whatever, which was like a TMNT Archie spin-off book. So it's in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles universe, but it's like Ray Fillet, the Stingray mutant, and Mondo Gecko, and it's like all those characters. Like, that's the first one I really remember getting. And I still have it to this day.
Wow. What did you think of the new Turtles movie?
I thought it was cool that they brought in all the Mutanimals. They had all those guys in there. So I'm a big fan of, like, Slash is like one of my favorite characters. Mondo Gecko's always been fun. So I did like it in that sense. I'm like, yo, this is really like a Mutanimals movie. It's Mutant Mayhem. That's why they call it that.
Yeah. I loved it. I thought it was great. Great movie. S Ducks Me. What's it like having the best comic channel on YouTube?
Oh, man. I wouldn't know.
No, but I think, you are very well regarded. So you must be proud of the success you've had.
Yeah, I'm proud of it for sure. I'm proud of it.
Yeah. Good stuff. Okay, let's have a quick look here. I feel it's exactly the same way. I'm just intrigued if there's any impact at all. Like, I thought there's not. Yeah, I doubt it. I doubt it, mate.
I think, if anything, it's more... Like you said, it's a little bit embarrassing. It's like, why would you have all these subs and you're not getting views? I deal with that on an organic level. Like, I organically got these subscribers over 6 years and through pandemics and you know how many? I have probably hundreds of thousands of views in Arcade 1-Up videos. You think those people are watching my Miracle Man Omnibus review? They don't give a shit, So you get subs through viral videos. That's how they come in. I was also doing a big giveaway thing that really helped at one time. A larger channel put me onto that. But again, I mean, to do giveaways is cool. But if you're getting people that are creating new accounts to do that, or people that are commenting just for giveaways but don't watch your new videos, it really doesn't help you.
Yeah, absolutely. I got a lot of subs recently because of a couple of shorts that I did as well.
Shorts is a new one. Yeah, I know channels too that have gotten hundreds of thousands of views off shorts, millions of views in shorts, and it gave them hundreds of thousands of subs, but their regular videos still do the same numbers.
Absolutely.
There's a whole like short community or viewership that only watches shorts.
I mean, in all transparency, that's what's happened to me over the last few months. I did a couple of videos which did much better than I would normally do, like 10,000 views or something, and I got a few shorts that did very well. And I got a massive boost over a short period of time, but then shite all. It just died, And it's like, and every day you see them disappearing. So I think it's just bots.
It could be that. It's very easy to subscribe to a channel via shorts because I'm pretty sure the subscribe button is right there. So maybe a lot of people hit it like, fuck it, I'll subscribe. Or maybe they don't even mean to hit it. Maybe they mean to swipe away, but they accidentally subscribe. But yeah, I don't think the monetization is the same. Views on shorts for views on long form. And the people that subscribe via shorts, they're not watching long form content.
No.
At all.
No, absolutely. Okay, Jem, we're near the end of the questions. Guys, stay tuned because we're going to do a little bit of kind of channel roundup, and then we're going to do a new section where I'm going to ask Jem about 10 rapid fire questions. But before we do that, Jem, tell people, as if they don't know, but tell people where they can find you and what you've got coming up on your channel.
YouTube is my home. Instagram is really my home, to be really real. Instagram is my home, but YouTube is where you'll see the majority of my content. We do a live morning show Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, which I guess is 3 p.m.
3
Triple
p.m.
G time.
Yeah.
I also do pre-recorded content. It's omnibus hauls and reviews, statue unboxing and reviews. I might review a number one of a single issue comic book. I might do an arcade one-up video. I might stream Black Myth Wukong later today on PS5. What else do I do? Trading card box breaks or trading card Marvel card collection videos. If you are born in the 80s and grew up in the 90s, I might have some shit that you like. Or it might even go to older or younger crowd, depending on your interests. But yeah, here on YouTube is the main place where I do content.
I think for me, one of the reasons I'm drawn to your channel, Jem, and I do a similar kind of thing, is you're not just focused on one thing like you've described, you know, like I do comics, toys, visits, whatever the hell I want to do. It's not like you're purely omnibuses. There's something for everything. So if you like any kind of, you know, geeky, nerdy, comic-y stuff, there's something on your channel for everybody, really, isn't there?
No, I totally agree, man. It's all the stuff that I'm interested in, and that's something when I first wanted to start YouTube and I would check out these channels, they were always one thing. This guy only does statues. This guy only does omnis. This guy only does weekly stuff. And I was like, shit, when I do my channel, it's going to be everything because I'm legitimately a fan of all these things and I actively collect all these things. So I like, you know, the variety channel kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Which is also another problem with subs to views, right? Because statue people don't necessarily care about video game content, but there is some overlap though. But you know, omnibus people might not care about statues. So
okay, Jem, it's been an absolute pleasure. Like I say, stick around. We've got a few questions for you just at the end there. It really has been a pleasure. I can't thank you enough for coming on my little channel. I really do appreciate you doing that. Coming up on my channel over the next few months, we've got a whole host of stuff. As ever on Triple G, we've got our Monday night live shows. So Monday nights, 8 or 9 p.m. We've got 1/6 scale action figure unboxings, comic content, interviews, and shop visits. That was a weird one, Jem. I went to a comic shop, and in the middle of the comic shop, turned a corner and ended up in a pornography shop.
What was like Playboy magazines and such?
Again, toys.
Oh, shit. It's like a Spencer's. Well, you don't have the same stores we have, but there's in our malls, we have a store called Spencer's, and they'll have like graphic tees in the front, and then in the back, they'll have like dildos and shit. Like, what the hell?
It was a little bit of a shocker. Monday night, tomorrow night at 8 p.m., we've got Let's Talk Toys, where me and the guys are going to be covering all of the action figure, Lego, gaming news. Thursday night, we've got the Killer Comic Show at 9 o'clock, covering all the comic news. And if you want to join me over on One Good Scare Show for all your horror content, please do that. This video is out tonight. Went to a Comic Con this weekend, which was actually in a brewery. First time I've been in a brewery in a comic shop. Got a little bit drunk. It was rather good. So that was nice. Wednesday, we've got Chris the Comic Vet over on the channel. So I'm looking forward to talking to Chris. Lovely guy. I'm looking forward to this. And then on Thursday, myself and Efren are going to be interviewing the Rodney Barnes, phenomenal writer who did Blackula and Philadelphia, but also wrote Everybody Hates Chris and Winning Time. So stunning guy, full of energy. Looking forward to chatting with him on Thursday. So that's going to be good fun. Okay, just before we go to the final questions, Jem, I'm just going to quickly check on the chat.
They're cooking you in the chat.
They're cooking us in the chat. Doesn't surprise us. Look forward to the Jem Mint top 10 pie video. Top 10 pie. What's your favorite pie, Jem?
I don't know. I'm not really a pie guy. I'm more of a cheesecake guy.
Oh,
pie. If I think pie, like I like pumpkin pie.
Oh no,
pumpkin pie number one with the Ready Whip. Come on, pumpkin pie, apple pie. Obviously, American is apple pie. I can't even think of other pies.
do you guys see? We tend to go savory pies, so we have like a mince pie or a chicken pie, or you do chicken pot.
Well, chicken pot pie, yeah, but that's not making my top pie list.
Oh dear. He says he was shocked. He still brought some poppers and
How
butt
did this
plugs.
end up in my bag?
It was murder going through the metal detector on the way to holiday. That one, I tell you, the butt plug. Did you get any 12s? Yeah, filth. Absolutely filth.
Jeez
Oh, we've got
Louise.
ABZ. Nice to see you, mate. Nice to see Jason, hair pie. Thank you.
Jeez Louise.
Okay, Jim. So, last set of questions, rapid questions. All right. I just want the first thing that comes into your head. So we'll shoot off dead easy, dead straight away. And I know the answer to one of these straight away.
Okay.
Xbox or PlayStation?
PlayStation.
Best Batman?
Live action or comics?
Live action.
Ben Affleck.
Oh, no. Cats
Yes.
or dogs?
Dogs.
Pick a power. What superpower would you have?
Teleportation.
Nice. Kirk or Picard?
Who?
Oh,
Oh, what'd you say?
Kirk or Picard?
Oh.
Star Trek.
Man, neither.
Wow. Celebrity crush?
Fee.
Oh, nice. I like that. Stan or Jack?
Man. I respect and love Jack, but I feel like I relate more to Stan, so I'm gonna go Stan. Damn, yo, that's Stan.
That's a clip. That's a clip.
Yeah.
Gem Mint hates Jack Kirby. That's the title for that one.
I love Jack Kirby, and I love Kirby art. I love Silver Age art.
Yeah.
But I feel like Stan is that showman. He's the salesman.
Performer.
He's the face. Stan is
He's
the man, yo.
performer. Yeah. Best ice cream flavor?
Yo, vanilla.
Ooh. Ask
vanilla.
permission?
Huh?
Ask permission or beg forgiveness?
Beg forgiveness.
Okay. Mr. X, Comic Tom, DJ Links. Shag, marry, avoid.
All right, hold on. Fuck, marry, kill, right?
Yeah.
Comic Tom, DJ Links,
Mr. X.
Or Mr. X,
Yeah.
Shag, Mr. X.
I can see that, yeah.
Marry Comic Tom, kill DJ Links.
Ooh.
Because DJ Links is always riding my coattails.
He is.
He tries to edit as good as I edit. Yeah.
Yeah. Best UK comic YouTuber?
MJ Comics.
Unbelievable.